call this regularly scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission to order. Today is Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024. Happy New Year to everyone here today this morning. And up first we have the nomination of President for the Nicholas County Commission for calendar year 2024. As the kids say, nose goes. I can't make a motion.
Make a motion that we nominate Garrett Cole as president again this year.
I second that and third it.
I guess I'm outvoted, so all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion does carry. I do appreciate the confidence of my counterparts as we work equally to move this county forward. It does not appear we have anyone for the public comment period, so if we could begin with the motions, please.
You want to go ahead?
Sure. Make a motion that we review and waive the reading of the December 6th, 2023 minutes.
That motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? The motion does carry.
Upon review of the exonerations as presented by the Nicholas County Assessor, move to approve accordingly.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those against? The motion does carry.
Upon review of the state and fiduciary matters as presented by the Nicholas County Clerk, move to approve accordingly unless otherwise noted.
Okay, that motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? The motion does carry.
Upon submission of budget revisions received from the elected officials and department heads, the commission will take appropriate action as deemed necessary.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? The motion does carry.
Upon review of invoices as submitted by various departmental offices, the commission will take appropriate action as deemed necessary.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those against? The motion does carry. For the record, we do not have any terms of office expiring this morning outside of a couple of commission appointments, but for the record, we need to set the holiday schedule for 2024. Patty and Bobby, do we have that from the governor's office?
We do.
Of course, it has been a standing precedence of the commission here to follow with what even reads the schedule is subject to change by acts of the legislature or by order and or designation of the president, governor, or other duly constituted authority. I know we had some questions arise over a couple of the additional days of the courthouse's closure in the last couple of weeks that the governor prescribed. I just want to clarify that's where that's coming from, more so than we're just deciding to shut doors some random days.
That's one that I've had some complaints about, courthouse being closed extra days, and that's what I explained to them, that by state statute, that falls back to, we adopt the governor's schedule.
One, it was 2 days in the last couple of weeks, not like 20.
Right.
You know, we had heard that we gave 20 days off last month. And I didn't see when that was. I'm pretty sure it was only 2. But anyways, just to clarify for everybody that, you know, our staff does a good job in what little we can do and the governor allows us to do. It's good to do for them. That being said, I won't read it for the record, but we do have a holiday schedule here that we can review. And if acceptable, we can approve that as presented. First off, can we have a motion to approve as presented this holiday list for the 2024 calendar year?
Motion.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. The budget deadlines for the elected officials, how do we usually do that at the end of February?
We do. We can do it since it's leap year, we can do it on the 29th. of February.
Well, we can start meeting on March 4th
Well, that's-
or March
so
7th.
that'd
I
be
can't
15
remember.
days.
Let's say February 23rd.
23rd, okay.
Is that acceptable with you all, February 23rd for the budget deadline? That gives the clerk and Patty 2 weeks to prepare those matters before we can begin budget hearings. Let's see here.
February 23rd.
24, yes. Do we have a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion that we set the budget deadline, I'm trying to combine those words, budget deadline for the elected offices as of February 23rd, 2024.
You said February 23rd.
Yep.
Okay. That motion on the floor, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. Approval of order in the matters of payment of salaries and utilities. Do we have that order?
We do.
Okay. Of course, this is just a yearly standard thing, allowing the commission to,
Just give you the next three. Actually, president and Gilbert did, and that's the salaries and the
okay,
utilities, and this is the next one, the extension service.
okay. So, let's see here. In the matter of payment of salaries and utilities, we have an order before us here. It partially reads, the salaries of county officials and its employees semi-monthly, as provided by Chapter 7, Article 7, Section 7 of West Virginia's Code for the calendar year of 2024, and list the different utilities that we will pay. But if you all would like to review that, and then if we could have a motion concerning that.
Motion.
That motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. We do have here also proposed payroll dates. As this order we just approved states, it's a let's see here, semi-monthly. Does that mean twice a month? Okay. I learned that today. The payroll dates as presented.
Yeah, we each got a copy of those.
What is it?
We each got a copy of those.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see my
There
copy.
you go.
But anyways, do we need to approve this? Or is
Should
that
have been
good?
his last motion.
Or would it be?
It was in the payment of salaries.
Yes,
also.
yes, it is there. So we'll, we have that covered. Now, that being said, we need an approval of the order, which is before us here this morning, nominating a commissioner to serve as a member of the Nicholas County Extension Service Committee, which is also referred to as the WVU extension for calendar year 2024. And we need a nomination. A nomination for that position.
Is that new or one of us went before?
I used to be on that.
Yes.
I can still do it if you want.
Are you okay with
Gary's already on it.
it? WVU Cooperative Extension Committee?
Gary's on?
Isn't that right here? Look up.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's
Okay.
WVU. I could have swore that was you, Craig.
It was.
No, you switched last year.
Yep, I'm good.
Okay, so,
Thought it was.
I recommend Commissioner Roberts stay on that committee. You good with that?
Yeah.
okay. It is hereby ordered upon the motion of Commissioner Chapman that Commissioner Roberts be designated to serve as a member of the Nicholas County Extension Service Committee, with that term of office ending with the first meeting of the County Commission in January of 2025.
Oh my God.
So help you God. That being said, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry.
Do those next three as one motion.
So that being said, we need to reaffirm the commission appointee to first, the New River Gorge Regional Development Authority, second, the Nicholas County Community Partnership, Inc., And third, the Nicholas County Fire Board. Currently, the NRGRDA and community, what is it?
Chapman Cole.
Right. Commissioner Chapman is on the NRGRDA and the Nicholas County Community Partnership, and I'm the commission appointee to the Fire Board. My understanding we're willing to stay in those positions if we could have a motion.
Okay, make a motion that you guys remain in those positions.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. Assessor Ernie Dennison, thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
We have a request to set border review and equalization dates. If you look on the last page of your agendas, you'll see a proposed schedule.
Okay, gentlemen, this was already prepared from off of the way that we had previously done over the years through the month of February for Board of Equalization review. And this is nothing more than separating the taxing districts, which allows people the time to come in to appear if they have a problem or disagreement with the values placed on their real estate or some other problem that the assessor can address and they wish to come before you. From looking over everything, the only thing that I see that may change or may have to be adjusted is the natural resource, industrial, real and personal property, which is on February the 9th. The West Virginia State Tax Department has not issued us the date in which they would be able to defend their value. So therefore, we need to possibly move that date. And the last email correspondence that I received was this morning, and we are supposed to be receiving, the dates are setting up for all counties statewide this week. And if that be the case, and we can get it this week, I think that, it wouldn't be a problem for us to ship it if we have to. We requested the 9th. I don't know if we'll get it. The only other problem I see that may come into effect on it would be, this is the way that the publication was, because we got to do a legal advertisement. And the only thing, this was from last year, so the only thing that we would possibly need to do is, if we get the date, have this corrected. What would you go do? Just
Wait until we hear back.
wait till we hear?
Mhm.
That's what I thought. But, so then if we get that date, then Patty will be able to go ahead and start making the publication letter to the Chronicle. And then last year, it was run on January 12th and 19th, so that's good for the 2 weeks required. And then I see nothing wrong with this. If you all do, then you all need to
Definitely.
tell us why.
The only concern, I don't think it'll be a major issue. The only concern I would see is February 5th. That is one of the dates of the Association of County Conference.
Oh,
I mean, I don't see a problem with coming back and going back down if we have to or whatever. Because really, you can't meet more than 3 days in between.
You have to have the
days.
meeting within a 3-day span.
So,
now I can actually move that because we're meeting on February the 1st,
right,
and then we're coming back on the 7th, so that's 3 days. I can take Wilderness of Kentucky and move it down to the 12th if you'd like.
what do you think? Is that okay with you?
Fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I have to be down there yet or not, because I don't see any
Well-
legislative, last year I need to be because
Right.
of the.
So, well, that's true. That's not commissioners, that's the whole county, so you might need to be down there too.
Yeah, I had to be there last year.
So,
Hopefully I don't have to be there this year, but. You want to move it to the 12th then?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah, fine with that.
Is that fine?
What do you guys think? I was asking the gentleman that came last year about the 2 seams of coal. I thought he had to come back each year and do it.
He might come back for something else because he
Okay.
has several thousand.
All right. I just didn't know. I thought
Something else,
that
like Joseph Orlandi?
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had to keep doing that annually or not.
Yeah, the values are pushed back up by the state each year unless there's a correction made or they seen or, I don't know why they do that, but, you
Now,
know.
is there any preference on timing on your part? 9 AM, 1 PM?
I like the mornings, but that's just my
Done.
preference. I'd rather do them in the morning,
All
deal
of them
with
at 9
whoever
a.m.
we have in the afternoon, have it done that day, hopefully.
Except the state.
Except for the 3 commission days. Of
Yeah,
course, they would
yeah.
have to be 1 PM.
1 PM on the commission. And
None
probably
would
the
be better,
state
get better.
likes to come at,
Yeah.
No, but seriously.
No, yeah, we'll do 9.
No, it'd be
Except for-
I know.
And they'll give us a that time of day. They're probably gonna Zoom anyway or not,
What if I got
10
snow?
o'clock.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not on the county commission, so yeah, commission at 1 o'clock sounds wonderful.
Now, so the natural resources, industrial, real estate, and
Well,
personal property, that's all the state. That's all, that's not separate.
What you see on the 9th is defended by the state of West Virginia, and values are set by the state of West
On
Virginia.
the third Wednesday, the airport usually meets in the afternoon. Do we want to make it at 2 o'clock? for the
That's what we did
Board of
last year, I
Review?
think.
For the Board of Review, and let the airport come at 1?
Yeah.
We can always move the airport stuff, but if that works, that's fine.
Okay.
That's just.
So we're gonna do
It's the
Grand Jam-
21st.
Alright, let me get this and I'm gonna write it on my paper. That the 7th is a commission meeting and so you're going to do Grant Jefferson and BRE on at 1?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And then on the 21st at the close, where we do
Hamilton.
Clint out in Hamilton, will be at 2.
At 2, yes.
And the 14th at 9 AM, because there's no commission.
Okay. What about in February, 9 AM, 1?
Yeah.
To open up the EOE?
Yes.
And also the
12th.
12th, 9?
Yes.
And then the 9th will be based on the state, you guys said, right?
Right. And I can let Patty know and take care of that, and if we see any problem that may cause you or whatever, Patty can get with you or I can.
Yep.
And contact me. But gentlemen, I think that's it. On everything.
Is there a motion to approve this proposed schedule of the Board of Equalization and Review for 2024?
Motion.
Motion's on the floor, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. We'll get started here in just one moment with introductions. For everybody's benefit here on Zoom, my name's Commissioner Garrett Cole. I'm the president of the Nicholas County Commission. I appreciate your all's time here this morning. To my left is Commissioner Craig Chapman, and to his left is Commissioner Gary Roberts. We do have Commission Legal Counsel present, Gregory A. Tucker, and County Clerk Robert Painter, and others. If we could begin on the phone, Lori, if you would introduce yourself, please.
Hello, I'm Lori Walker.
Thank you. And
Who is?
your position in this estate?
I am the daughter of Joseph A. Camilla.
Okay. Are you the one objecting? I'm sorry, we don't have this file right in front of us just yet. Okay,
Yes,
very good. Thank you for that clarification.
thank you.
Now, that being said, if our friends on Zoom would please introduce themselves.
I'm William Cipriani. I'm counsel for Lori Walker.
Thank you.
Roy, you're on mute. I'm Hannah Wright. I'm counsel for Joseph Camilla.
Joseph C.
And then Roy, or Ray.
Roy Cunningham, I'm also counsel for Joseph C. Camilla.
Thank you all. That being said,
Not the attorney, it's just the lady on the phone.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, Lori, we're gonna go with the honor system if you don't mind. We usually do these in person, but all of the people speaking to the estate, what we do is have you raise your right hand, please. And to
Okay.
each of you, do you and each of you solemnly swear or affirm that in the matter now in hearing, your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. That being said, we're gonna have Ms. Brown from the clerk's office update the commission, and we'll get started.
Right. In November, our office received a motion for reference to
Patty, would you put
fiduciary commissioner, okay, with an objection by Ms. Walker from her attorney, Mr. Cipriani, as an objection to the appraisal of the estate. Due to the fact that we have recently lost our fiduciary commissioner, Attorney Tucker had sent a letter to Daniel Armstrong, who at that time was counsel for Joseph C. Pamela, asking that the attorneys get together and try to reach some sort of agreement or hash this out before we brought it before commission. We did not receive any correspondence, nor did Mr. Tucker, from Mr. Armstrong, so the hearing was set for today. In the meantime, on December the 28th, late afternoon, we received a motion to continue from Mr. Armstrong stating that one of his attorneys had suddenly left his firm, and so he requested more time to review the file. And then yesterday, I was notified that I believe Mr. Palmilla has since changed representation.
And I want to make a correction for the record. I apologize. This is the estate of Joseph Anthony Pamela, file 10608, with a request to remove the administrator. I apologize for not putting that on the record. That being said, so again, let me begin with Mr. Armstrong. Who was he representing?
Mr. Joseph C. Palmilla, the current
Okay.
executor of the estate.
However, now we have Hannah Wright and Roy Cunningham representing.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure we clarify where we're all at to make sure we're not missing anyone here in the meeting here today.
Well, let me update from there. I received a call yesterday from new counsel for the estate advising me that they were had received the file. I suggested that they contact Mr. Cipriani and see if they could resolve the issues. And I don't know whether that has occurred or not occurred, but I at least put the parties together yesterday.
And I misspoke. Mr. Palmilla is the administrator. There is not a will.
Thank you.
If I may, Commissioners, this is Roy Cunningham. Mr. Cipriani and I had several conversations yesterday. I think that it's possible that we can resolve this. We only started getting involved in this on Friday, so we're going to probably need a little bit of time to talk. I thought we had a couple of productive discussions relative to things he's requesting and whatnot, and there's also an accompanying circuit court matter relative to this as well that we're working on also. And we've not yet obtained, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Mr. Brown. We have not yet obtained the entire file from Mr. Armstrong's office at this time.
Commissioner, this is Bill Cipriani. What Mr. Cunningham says is correct. We did have a couple conversations yesterday. This really this whole matter results from the failure of the administrator or his counsel just basically failing to provide information that we've been requesting since June of last year. And to quote some old Secretary of Defense, we don't know what we don't know. And we're trying to find out what it is that we don't know. I've been advised by new counsel that they're going to make every effort to comply with the requests that we've made. There have been actually, looks like 2 appraisements filed. An initial appraisement and then a subsequent amended appraisement that was about 139 pages. But it's still, we were still short of what we were really looking for. So I think our agreement is that we would continue today's hearing until the next fiduciary meeting of this commission. And if if we were satisfied with the information, that this matter could be resolved. But we wanted to stay on the radar in the event that there is some reluctance or inability to get the information we've been requesting.
This was originally set to refer the matter to a fiduciary commissioner. We don't have a fiduciary commission at the present time. The purpose of my letter was to prod Mr. Armstrong to cooperate. Apparently that didn't happen, but I believe now with new counsel that they can move forward and resolve most, if not all, of the issues. And if not, the commission can address them.
Okay. And then, of course, Ms. Walker, appearing by phone, I just wanted to make sure and give you a chance to add anything in case you had anything to mention on what we've discussed so far.
Well, yeah, my biggest concern is not being given any information regarding my father's estate, and you know, that's where I stand. I haven't been given any information. I've been held in the dark. My brother refuses to provide me any information. I am a sibling. I am my father's daughter.
There's some
and I feel
information
that
has
this is
been provided.
completely unfair.
Absolutely understood, Ms. Walker. Thank you for that. Is there any action we need to take today?
No, I mean, how long do they need and reset it?
Just to let you know how long we're going to need, Commissioner, to get this information. We've been in contract with the Armstrong firm. They are working on providing us that. Our intention is to hopefully get most of the information in either this week or next week, or everything that they have and everything our client has. We'll probably need a few days to disseminate that and get it over to Mr. Cipriani so he can review it with his client. But I'm thinking probably, I don't know, probably 14 days from today, we should be able to get him most of this information, I hope. If not, if there's some glitch in that because Armstrong won't give it to us or whatever, we will certainly apprise him and keep him informed on this. I think the biggest issue here, quite frankly, and I don't mean to throw an attorney under the bus, but just the Armstrong firm was just not responsive. I think that's a fair characterization as to where this was, you know, to my client's detriment. So we're going to try to right the ship, so to speak. It's just going to take us a little bit of time to do that.
I would agree with that.
Okay. There was the mention of 14 days. Should we just go ahead and go to the first meeting of February?
I would give 30 days.
Okay. And so what that would be February 7th of 2024. Does that sound acceptable to everyone of a potential regrouping of this matter?
That's fine. I have no conflicts on that day.
That's fine with us.
Okay. And Ms. Walker, what did you say? I apologize.
February 24th might not be good for me.
February 7th.
Oh, February 7th. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, February 7th should be good.
Okay.
Now, that being said, if they can resolve these issues before then, then just let the commission know or me know, there may not be a need for hearing.
Right.
Well, what we will do, commissioners, is if we can resolve this and get information to Mr. Cipriani that makes his client comfortable and we're good with whatever we've sent out, what we will do is we will send a letter to Mr. Tucker, either myself or Mr. Cipriani, copying the other counsel and advising that we don't need the hearing date. Is that fair enough, Mr. Cipriani?
Yeah, that's fine. Sounds fine.
And as you mentioned, Mr. Cunningham, just keeping legal counsel Tucker or the commission aware of that would be wonderful. And we'll be glad to assist and proceed accordingly with that.
Well, and all parties should proceed with the understanding that this lady is an heir and she's entitled to a certain amount of information, if not all the information.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And there's one other question. There's another son. Did he have, that has passed, did he have any heirs? Did he have any heirs?
No, he died without a wife or children.
Okay.
He was also removed from my father's estate. A lot of stuff. Don't know what happened there either, but stuff happened there behind everybody's, well, I'm not going to get into that, but yeah, Michael was removed from a lot of things.
Lori, well, his estate was administered in the state of New York.
Yeah. No, I mean, Michael was removed from my dad's estate while he was living in West Virginia.
He was removed from the trust. He wasn't removed from the estate.
Oh, okay.
The estate, if there's no will, then the issue is it doesn't matter what, you have to have some sort of affirmative thing. If you have a will, you can disinherit people. If you die without a will, the state of West Virginia, in this case, determines who your heirs are. Sorry, I didn't mean to add that.
That's okay. And of course, one of the issues, Mr. Cunningham, is that my client thought that her father had a will.
I did. I definitely thought he did. My mother had a will, and my father apparently had no will. Joseph said he was working on my father's will weeks before his passing, and I tried to get attorneys' names. I was advised that I wasn't allowed to get any information regarding my father's will or attorneys or any information. I was basically blocked from everything.
As I sort of have the distinction, or if not the burden of being licensed both in West Virginia and New York, I would ask Mrs. Walker this. Was your mother's will filed with the surrogate's court where they live? Because normally in New York, some attorneys there, the court will allow you to file wills with the court before someone predeceases. If that's the case, we can certainly ask, is it Suffolk, whatever county they lived in, I think it's Suffolk County, if there's a will on file. That's a common practice in New York. I don't know, Mr. Cipriani, if you knew that or not, that they.
I did not. I know in West Virginia we can lodge wills, but it's not normally done.
Either that, or in New York also, the attorneys will keep the will. They'll keep a will vault and do that as well. If we knew who the attorney was, I'm happy to write them a letter saying, hey, do you have a will or not? And I can also follow up with the county, depending on which county it is. I think it's Suffolk County. What, Mrs. Walker, do you know what county he would have lived in New York? Was it Suffolk County or Nassau?
It was Suffolk County, but I'm not sure if my mother's will was drawn up in Pennsylvania because my father also owned a home in Pennsylvania.
Well, these respectfully are matters that they can handle on their own.
Right.
Okay.
Do you recall where the home was in Pennsylvania, Mrs. Walker? I'm just asking, because I know some folks there as well. I can maybe make an inquiry.
Where was it in Pennsylvania?
Or if you guys
Danville?
want to give me that offline, that's fine. Okay.
I think it was Danville.
We'll get that.
All right. What I will do then, Commissioners and Mr. Cipriani and Mrs. Walker, is I will make contact with the Suffolk County surrogate's court and see if they have a will on file. I'll also see if I can figure out if there's an attorney up there that was representing them, if he has a will on file.
Okay.
So we'll see what we will make best efforts to find a will if there is. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Okay. Well, the commission appreciates everyone's time here this morning. Hopefully this can be resolved, and if not, we'll see everyone next month. And wish you all the best.
What time, Commissioners, will be next month? What time will the hearing be scheduled?
Let's go ahead and just set it at 10 o'clock in the morning. I know it's not filled up till then.
Are we going to be able to, presuming we're going to have this, are we going to do it on Zoom, or are we going to do it live, or how are we going to do it? Because I'm in Charleston, I know Mr. Cipriani's in Wheeling. I just want to.
I can make the trip if necessary.
So can I, I'm just asking.
It's subject to your preferences. This morning we ran late. It was the first meeting of the year. So we had quite a few motions to go through in establishing the county's business for the year. But Zoom, in person, frankly, your preference.
Okay.
See,
Thank you.
in person just runs up expenses for the estate.
Sure.
10 a.m. is available.
Okay, so that'll be 10 a.m. on February 7th, as needed.
All right. Thanks, Commissioners. Thank you, Mr. Cipriani.
Thank you all very much. Okay, we're here now with Cassandra Lawson, the Senior Project Specialist at Region 4 Planning and Development Council. This is regarding the Craigsville PSD Influent Pump Station Project Resolution Number 1.
And also with me is Ryan Bustani. He's of Thrasher. He was with us initially when we came before you to request the Commission's funding commitment.
I'll be honest
for
with
this
you, I
project.
apologize. I thought you were the new representative for Senator Manchin.
I didn't know.
That's why I said I wasn't gonna, yeah.
Alex, he's kind of got the Alex here.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. I swear. That's not a bad thing, but I apologize.
We thought you were bringing us money.
I wish.
Sure. But anyway,
So we have the first resolution for you for the Influent Pump Station project, which is funded by a combination of the Nicholas County Commission at $100,000, the West Virginia Infrastructure Council at $300,000, and then the project cost increased some since we came before you initially. We had hoped that the improvements could be undertaken by one of the contractors that the PSD is already working with on an ongoing sewer project, but unfortunately no one was willing to pick up that work. So a separate contract did have to be negotiated, and that did increase the cost some. But the Craigsville PSD has obligated an amount not to exceed $100,000, so the project is still good to go. So we have for you today a single invoice from Buchanan Pump. It's in the amount of $87,795, and the PSD would please request to utilize the Commission's commitment for that purchase. And then, Brian, I don't know if you want to provide additional detail or if you guys have
Would you
technical.
say that amount one more time? I apologize.
Yes,
But
actually, thank you very much.
okay.
87,795.
Where's that?
I don't have young ears like Gary.
Yeah.
This gets caught in his beard.
So that's a partial payment. We withheld a percentage of retainage on the project. The pumps and controls have been delivered. So what we did to cut costs and maximize our funds is we bid the pumps out separately, and then we also did that with the materials. So we're doing everything kind of individualized. And so the invoice that you guys are paying now would be just for the pumps. Here in probably, hopefully in about a month or so, the project will be completed, and we come back to you guys for the remaining funds once everything's installed. We did not want to pay everybody out until everything's up and running. So you guys are just paying for the pumps and controls. And then like Cassie said, the project did come in a little bit over budget. We had to use a different contractor, and costs, I've reached out to probably 8 or 9 different contractors, and this is the cheapest one, cheapest cost that we got to do the project, and it was about $237,000, and that's just labor. We did the discharge piping, the valves, electrical, everything like that separate. The cost for the materials was right about $84,000. And then we had the shortfall, and the PSD is taking some money out of their general account to pay for the overrun costs. The pump station's limping. We have one pump in there running right now. So we're trying to keep pushing as fast as we can, as quick as we can get materials. But I think everything's in. We got the materials from Citgo. They're doing one last inventory on everything before we get the contractor in there and strip everything out. So we're hoping here in the next couple weeks the contractor will mobilize and get everything, get the project underway. One thing that may hold us up on the project is we are coating the interior of the wet well. Basically what it is, it's a spray liner, and it's a geopolymer, so it's a structural polymer, so it'll kind of reinforce the wet well. And with that, it just gives it longer longevity. So the problem is the weather. It has to be a certain temperature, so we're going to work with a contractor and see if bringing heaters or anything like that so that concrete will cure properly. But if that's not the case, it may kick us back until we get a little bit warmer weather. And that is not ideal, but we'll work through that. So everything's progressing. We appreciate all your guys' help in this. We definitely couldn't have done it without you guys, so thank you so much.
Now, of course, this is related to the sewer side of the PSD.
Yes.
And you say you only have one pump running.
Yes.
How many are there?
It's a triplex, so there's 3 pumps. And what they do is they alternate.
Right.
Running. So typically, and this is the main pump station, so all the sewage in Craigsville and Camden come into the main pump station at the wastewater plant, and then it goes to the headworks for treatment. So this is the main station that they've run into.
But of those 3, currently only one is running.
That's correct. So what we did was this, and if you're in the sewer business, this is the way it always works. The day before Christmas, one of the pumps went out. So the guys had to get in there. They bought everything off, let everything fill up, got the pump out, rewound it, cleaned it out, got it back in, got it operational. we worked with Buchanan Pump, and they brought in one of the pumps. The only problem is, we're putting a little bit bigger of a pump in there, and so it's got an 8-inch discharge and not a 6-inch discharge. So what we needed was a reducer. The PSD had a reducer. It was a little bit more work. We went ahead and just left the one in there. We've got getting everything in order just in case we have an issue. And so if there's an issue, we can ball it off, drop the new pump in there with the reducer and get it operational. So we're trying not to, we don't, you know, that reducer is probably about $6,000, $7,000. So we're trying not to spend any money that we don't need to. But we're prepared, we're trying to get prepared if that pump does go down.
And if I remember correctly, you with some valves, you guys were adding a safety feature or something. There was something new. Like right now, there is the ability to bleed back, run into the river or something like that. You guys were going to address that.
Like a check valve?
Yes, it seemed like there was something you were going to do.
There's check valves on it. And that's pretty standard for those influent pump stations. But the only thing we're really doing is we're upping the size a little bit to handle the additional flow from the new water plant. So other than that, it's a fairly straightforward.
And ultimately, would you say going from 6 to 8 back to 6? Ultimately, it'll be 8 all the way through?
8 all the way through.
Okay, gotcha. And then there's a temporary holding well that'll hold a certain amount of sewage until this gets up. I think that's what we were talking about before.
That was for the water plant. So when they backwash their water filters,
yes,
we can only send so much flow to the wastewater plant.
Right.
So we talked about doing in an equalization basin. So when we backwash those filters, it's going to go to a holding tank, and then we'll slowly go in.
Right.
So good memory. Yes.
Yes.
That's exactly what we're doing at the water plant.
Okay.
So that's kind of, that goes, if we didn't do that, we needed a heck of a lot bigger pumps.
Right.
So in order to make that work, we're doing the equalization basin.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mary? Oh, nice to meet you. I'm with Liberty National. Paul moved up, so I'm with donations.
I don't have any other questions.
And your guys?
Make a motion that we approve resolution 1 in the amount of $87,795, which is an invoice to Buchanan Pump for the 3 pumps. Out of
Do you
our
have that
$100,000
resolution?
commitment.
I do, and the way that we set this up, because the PSD is the recipient of the Infrastructure Council funds, and really they're kind of a recipient of the commission's funds. I set it up just like we've been doing Richwood, and we had the PSD approve it first, and then if we just have your approval, you know, by just meeting minutes and that sort of thing, that's sufficient for what we need to submit to the other funding agencies, if that works okay for you.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those against, the motion does carry.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, guys.
That's okay. That way. No, not today. I was just going to get some contact information so I could reach out.
Okay, we're now down to commissioners' comments. Before we do that, I did notice one thing that was left off of the agenda is the meeting schedule of the commission. What I would like to recommend is continuing the first and third Wednesdays at 9 a.m. But also, if we could pick a certain day or something like that each quarter to have an evening meeting, a little bit more accessible to the public, and just a regular meeting, just to try and add a little bit more of a diversified approach on that.
Can we do some, as town hall meetings, does it have to be here? Can we do like the Board of Education, move it to different towns?
If it's a town hall. If it's a regularly scheduled meeting, it has to be here, to my understanding.
You could not make a decision at another location.
That's it. Okay, yeah, that's it.
You just cannot make a decision.
Or deliberate.
Pardon?
Or deliberate.
Right,
So it's just a genuine hearing.
Informational.
informational.
Yeah, which and I'm okay with that too, because really, I mean, our sometimes our agendas go 3 hours, but usually it's an hour to 2. So a third meeting that month would be kind of.
I'm fine with it.
But let's set it for the second month of each quarter, and then we'll figure out by next meeting. We can try to figure out when we want to actually start adding those. Now, commissioners' comments.
I had one, but I forgot.
Well, I had a couple, and
I literally
I
had.
got excited about meetings, I guess.
I got one real quick while you guys are figuring out. So, wanted to put some information out about the dog catcher. Folks, we have a horrible problem in the entire county of Nicholas with stray dogs, uncontrolled dogs, and stray cats and uncontrolled cats. First thing that we need to understand is we are a dog shelter. The cats that we take in are privately funded. We do not come and pick cats up from the street. It's dogs, and it's only stray dogs. If you're going to turn a dog over, you have to bring that dog to the shelter. So if you're calling on a noise ordinance that's outside the city of Richwood or the city of Summersville, there's absolutely nothing our dog warden can do. That's correct, right?
Yes.
Yes, I want to verify, and I actually texted JJ real quick, I was hoping for an answer back. If you are inside the city of Richwood or inside the city of Summersville, you have to call the police department. We do not have any jurisdiction over noises from animals. The only thing we can do is come inside those areas and pick up a stray or a dog that has been like vicious, bitten somebody, done something like that. So as far as if you just have an annoying dog that's running around the area, now when you go into General County, the only thing we can do is pick up or ticket unlicensed and unvaccinated dogs. So we do have a lot of limitations, and I've received a lot of frustration from the residents of Nicholas County, and I've worked with the dog warden and talked with the shelter over there, and I'm trying to get the best understanding I can. But the biggest thing you can do is be a responsible pet owner. We have people coming surrendering animals daily, trying to get those things out of the town on the freedom trains, they call them. We try to send as many as we can. We are a kill shelter. People need to understand that. But to my knowledge, very few animals are put down unless they just cannot be handled. We send them out on these trains. People come through and get them. This all comes at a cost. And that's the other thing I wanted to explain out. But as far as a dog just running loose, there is no ordinance against that. Be a good neighbor, take care of your pet, go talk to your neighbor, talk about their pets. If you want to trap something and bring it to the shelter, whatever the case is, that's on you. If your dog gets picked up for no license or no vaccination and gets brought to the shelter and you've called down and come and pick that up, you will pay a fine. And what we're wanting to do is work with the city of Richwood and the city of Summersville, and then they will double that fine with whatever the local one is for not having for violation of leash law. So that's the only way we can enforce this is the dog tax and no rabies vaccination. I got all my letters twisted up today. No rabies vaccination, and you'll be cited for those. So you'll pay $50 to pick your dog up from the pound, and you'll be required to pay that dog fee or that dog license for the year as you pick that up. It's absolutely ridiculous the amount of calls that we get, and I think part of that comes from bad fur parents, and the other part of that comes from just improper expectations on what our dog warden can actually do. And he's a dog warden, not a pet warden. So anything that's picked up that's outside of a dog or worked with that's outside of a dog, it's just us going above and beyond the call.
Unless in cases of neglect.
Correct.
Like
neglect is a whole different
goats and horses.
Right. But just as far as a dog running loose in the neighborhood,
picked up over the years.
Call the Richwood Police Department if you're inside the Richwood city limits, and call the Summersville Police Department if you're inside the Summersville city limits. That's where your violation of leash laws and your noise ordinance and that type of things will come into play. JJ and the dog warden and the animal shelter can do nothing for you.
Okay, that email address is all lowercase and it's in.
Yeah, it's horrible. There's dogs running all over the place in this county, and cats too.
Yeah.
Bad ownership. That's all I got. And Happy New Year. Ho ho ho.
That's the good. I still can't think of mine. Can you, Craig?
Can we give JJ more power? Can we write some kind of ordinance to give him more to pick up animals like that?
I'd love to see a countywide leash law, but I would want that to be, in my mind, it would be reactive. In other words, we wouldn't go out looking for dogs that were off the leash, but if he went out and caught one off the leash, he could actually pick it up. Because it's a trash issue, it's a smell issue, it's when one dog's in heat, you've got other male dogs coming to that house. It's just there's a lot going on, and it's just a lot of people who don't want to. A lot of folks that don't have pets have to deal with the pets of their neighbors. But I would love to see a countywide leash law, and just a tool in the tool belt for our law enforcement and for our dog warden.
I do.
But like I said, that would be reactive. In other words, if there's an issue happens, not that he's going out because we don't have the facilities to house that many animals. It'd be hundreds. But I think it's a good 2024 goal, so let's see what we can do to have an impact on that.
I think that's good. And then the one thing I want to talk about would be a dilapidated structures ordinance. Our friend Tom Clark in Webster, a commissioner over there, he contacted me and asked if we had one. I said no. He said, you really need one? I said, well, yeah, we've been working on and getting one proposed. And I think Webster County got like $300,000 to start tearing stuff down.
Well, that's the other thing. Yep.
If you have an ordinance, there's a
receive
application,
funding.
you can actually receive funding, so that's definitely something.
Yeah, I got
I'd
a
like
copy of theirs.
to, he sent me an email of one, and I can provide that, and, maybe even what we could do is have just like a working chain, with, legal counsel to review it. I can try and piece it together, change all the Webster County to Nicholas counties, and then we can all take a fresh look at it.
It's probably statutory. What we typically do, as you and I have done, is get 2 or 3 or 4 different ordinances from different counties and pick the best pieces out of it.
So you're taking a state statute and presenting it in the county level, is that what that's statutory you're talking about?
Well, the statute authorizes you to have an ordinance, and sometimes they have a model ordinance for you to use.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely a need.
Yeah, I mean, especially,
And I'd like to include like open landfills, and it would be able to set like over 50 bags of raw garbage or something that you could be cited or.
That should be under the litter law, I would think.
The DNR actually has the
Yes.
control over that.
We've got some bad
now,
stuff up in there.
they have control over that,
Right.
yes, but is there something we can do on top of it? Because it's been
Because
an experience of
I had a lady call me one day. and
probably
she
3 to
sold the
5
property,
people that have
but it
contacted
still
me in
was
the
her
county
name 'cause
that they won't do anything.
how it's
Well, there's a
like
state
when
litter
you're-
statute.
And she got,
I mean, it's crime.
$1,000 fine.
Okay.
And it's, and I said.
Would that be something
show
to
them
combine, or would
who
you have to
sold
do it
the property.
separate, or?
Oh, it probably already exists on the books that the police officers can enforce.
Okay.
Did you notice that?
Maybe we'll,
55, 49.
I mean, littering is a crime.
Before
Right.
she let the guy
Right.
tell me where the trash is brought in. Okay.
well, in the words of Commissioner Chapman, Happy New Year, everyone. We'll end on a good note.
Happy New Year.
That being said, is there a motion to adjourn this regular scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission? Today is Wednesday, January 3rd.
Wait a second. Is what you need to be in executive session?
No.
No.
January 3rd, 2024.
This gets like a pause button.
It's
awesome.
I didn't even breathe.
I know.
But anyways, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion's on the floor. Any discussion?
Aye.
Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all those against, the motion does carry. In honor of Gary,
Love it.
we stand adjourned.
That's what you're doing.